Hey guys, welcome back to yet another video on the M52 turbo build for the E30. Now we've pretty much got the engine all assembled and it's almost ready to go back into the car. The only thing we have left to do is to install all the accessories and the oil pan on the engine. Now in this video we're going to pretty much just fly through all the accessories, getting them mounted back up. Everything we're going to be putting back on the engine is all pretty much from the factory that I had removed, minus a couple things like I have a Stewart high flow water pump, as well as an OBD1 coolant port adapter for the back of the timing cover. Now the stock OBD2 spider hose is just to reroute a lot of the coolant to like your HVAC system or the throttle body heater. I don't need this. I have everything capped off. I've been running it this way. This is just obnoxious at this point. So I'm going to be installing this single port here that pretty much just does the exact same thing this does, except now I'm just going to be routing without any extra points to have possible leaks. So we're going to get this epoxied into the back of the timing cover in this video as well. So I won't waste any more time talking about it. We'll just dive right in and get everything installed. So first things first, we're going to start off by installing the 3 coolant sensors that go into the head. All of these with new crush washers as well. We have the stock E36 coolant sensor. We have a coolant temperature sensor for my VDO gauge. And we have a rethreaded coolant sensor for the stock E30 cluster. Okay, so first things first, we're going to install this cam position sensor with a new O-ring. Now, with the standalone ECU that I'm going to be running, I may not even need this sensor, but for now we're going to go ahead and install it. We need to remove this Vano solenoid out of the way. Then we will install the sensor. Then we'll install the Vano solenoid back onto the Vanos. I didn't have a new gasket for this, so I did just put some RTV on it. So the next thing that we're going to do is install this coolant port adapter that goes to the back of the timing cover. It came with this epoxy and no direction, so we're just going to mix this all up. I'm going to get this nice and cleaned out. We'll smother it on here, we'll tap it in, and we'll just let it sit for a few days. So I emptied the contents onto this piece of cardboard. We'll mix it up real good. Get this nice and clean. Then I'll just smother it on here. And then we will push it into place. And that's it. Then we will install the oil filter housing. I already hit this with the roll-off disc. We'll just get some brake cleaner on it. And now I do have a new gasket for this as well, but I'm going to put some RTV on it because I just want to play it safe. We'll torque these to 16 foot-pounds. And as you can see, I do already have an oil distribution block here. I believe I got this from Rally Road, maybe. Don't quote me on that. I got this a few years back. But this has my oil pressure and oil temperature sensors on here for my VDO gauges. Next, we're going to install the Vanos oil line. And on the oil filter housing side, we're gonna use this banjo bolt here that I got from Rally Road. This adapts to a AN line that's gonna be my oil feed for the turbo. Then we're going to install the NOx sensors. And then we'll install this bracket that holds a lot of the wiring in place. Next, we're going to install the thermostat and housing. This is a 70-degree race thermostat. On here shows an arrow pointing up. I like to pilot a little hole right at the top just to assist in bleeding. I will lightly lubricate the O-ring, put on here. Now remember, this motor will be tilted at an angle counterclockwise, so right there is going to be about the top. And as you can see here, just like on the head, there is some slight pitting around the coolant port. So I'm going to put some RTV as well as a new gasket on the housing itself, and then we'll get it mounted up. We will install the new gasket. Then we're going to install our Stewart high flow water pump. We will lightly oil the O-ring. Then we're going to install the belt. Now this manifold here is from Rapid Spool Industries. It's designed for an E36. It'll be a little bit of a tight fit in the E30 chassis, but it'll work just fine. Okay, so I've already been working away at these nuts This is no easy task getting to a lot of them. I hand snugged all the ones I could get with a socket, and now I'm just going in, doing just little turns at a time to get the rest tight. Then we'll go through and torque everything that we can to 15 foot-pounds, and the ones we can't reach, we'll just use our best judgment. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is flip the motor over and install the oil pan. I got the oil pan back. I have the baffle welded in and the dash tent bung welded on the side of the pan. So let's go ahead and get this motor flipped upside down. We'll get it mounted. I'm going to go ahead and wipe down this entire mating surface. Also, something I want to point out, a must on these motors is to either tack weld or get some kind of wire to secure this oil pump nut, because it will come loose and you will lose all your oil pressure. Okay, side note, you have to remove the power steering pump in order to get the pan on. Now for this oil pan gasket, I am only using RTV. This is just what I've done in the past and it has worked great. Might be a little overkill, but that's okay. Then we will install all of the oil pan bolts. Alright, so it's been about 2 hours to let the RTV sit. What we need to do now is torque all of the oil pan bolts down. Now there's two different torque specs for this. There's going to be 8.8 grade bolts and 10.9 grade bolts. You have to look on the head of the bolts and see what you have. Mine are 8.8, so you'll torque those down to 88 inch-pounds. Alright guys, so that's going to be a wrap on this video. All the accessories are installed, the oil pan's mounted, and this engine is just about ready to go into the car. In the next video, we're going to get the new flywheel clutch and pressure plate mounted, as well as the transmission, and then we'll get it put into the car, and we'll just keep going from there. So, thank you for watching. See ya.